DMX was an artist that many people had a lot of respect for, specifically his music, but he told us things along his journey that were completely ignored about the industry, specifically about Diddy and Clive Davis. Today we're going to explore some of the messages that DMX shared with us while he was still with us, and you're not going to believe what he had to say, because now in today's landscape, everything aligns. I can't believe we ignored it back then. Let's dive into the story.
Everybody thought DMX was just angry. They laughed at him, called him bitter, and said he was making excuses. But years later, after one scandal after another rocked the music industry, people started replaying one of his old interviews with completely different eyes.
Now, you got issues with the industry. What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of sucking, riding, bending over the desk, straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it, nigga. Bring it. I don't give a f.
Now, he does come across as angry, let's be real. The voice that he has is an aggressive tone. It's in all of his music, and it's part of why I personally loved him as an artist. But he just said right there that in the industry, there are people performing sexual acts on management to get places. He said in his own words, he said it rough around the edges, but he said it, and he did not hide it. He didn't try and hide it. He literally said, bring it.
Bring it. Bring it. They got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? They in the record label executives, and it's like there's too much of that going on. A lot of the love I had for wanting to be a part of the industry is not there anymore. I don't even associate myself with the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Suddenly, what once sounded unbelievable had millions asking the same question. Was DMX trying to warn everyone? For years, rappers have hinted that powerful executives controlled much more than just record deals.
Check out that picture. Clive Davis with his finger right on Usher's chin. There's something disgusting about that picture. In my opinion, it's disrespectful looking, and it looks as if Clive Davis feels as if Usher is a piece of his property. And no, I don't think DMX was trying to warn everyone. I just don't think he cared. He said what he wanted to say. He was angry at the industry. He hated the industry. He wasn't trying to warn us, but he had no problem exposing Hollywood and the music industry specifically for what it was.
DMX was one of the loudest voices speaking out. He claimed there were people at the top of the industry who expected artists to do far more than make music if they wanted a shot at success. At the time, almost nobody took him seriously.
And you've always stood alone, and you know, bloodline.
I don't hang with niggas. You're not gonna see me at every party, every industry party, all the clubs. I go somewhere quiet, man, shoot pool with me and my mans and them. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of shit I do. You know what I'm saying? My remote control cars, jump on the four wheelers. You know what I mean? I ain't with all that in the club. Throwing it up and all that bullshit. I ain't got time for that shit, man. And then you find yourself doing the same shit every fucking day. What are you, a fucking alcoholic?
It sounds like he's talking specifically about Diddy. Think about Diddy in a couple of his music videos, always talking about being at the party with the booze up in the air. He's saying that he is not that person.
Come on, man. Give it a fucking break, man. Live a little, you know what I mean? I play with my kids, man. I play with my toys, I play with my dogs, man. You know what I'm saying?
Now, with years of allegations, lawsuits, and public controversies surrounding some of the biggest names in entertainment, those old interviews have taken on a whole new life. Many fans believe DMX's words deserve another look. Nearly 20 years ago, DMX openly criticized the music business. He claimed certain label executives pressured artists behind closed doors and rewarded the ones who were willing to play by their rules. According to him, he refused to compromise himself, even if it meant hurting his own career. In the interview, DMX vented about what he saw happening around him. He accused some newer rappers of doing whatever powerful executives wanted in exchange for promotion, radio play, and opportunities. He also complained about unequal treatment, saying other artists received constant support while his own music was held back.
So basically, DMX refused to go do the extracurricular acts, the sexual acts with management to promote his content, to give himself more airplay, to give himself more opportunity. And because of that, he was held back. Not saying he was held back much because he was highly successful as a rapper. I mean, I personally loved his videos. I personally loved his music. I'm curious if you guys did as well. Let me know down below. But he refused. He still was able to become successful with refusing what the industry was asking of him, while others were bending over desks, were giving favors to people up in these management positions, and he was disgusted with it.
To tell me one time, I said, yo, why I can't have two videos playing at the same time? Oh, because we don't want your videos to compete with each other. But then I turn on the motherfucking TV, I ain't gonna say no artist names, but they got 3 videos back to back.
Exactly.
I'm like, you feeding me fucking bull, and you sucking these niggas so crazy, man. What's wrong with yo? I had to punch one nigga in his face up there, man. After that, I was like, I'm not going to the office no more.
Looking back at the interview today, it's easy to see just how angry and disappointed he was with the industry. When the clip recently started circulating online again, many viewers immediately assumed DMX was talking about Sean Diddy Combs. But others argued there was a much bigger story behind his comments, bigger name behind what happened to DMX, Clive Davis. And DMX's story is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. As it turns out, Diddy and Clive Davis seemingly regularly preyed on young rappers.
Yep.
And the situation is much, much worse than we thought.
And not just young rappers, young talent, female, male, rappers, R&B singers. It doesn't matter what the talent was. It was young talent that were looking for opportunity. Clive Davis and Diddy 100% took advantage of those people, requiring them to do things to be successful in the industry.
We'll get into that in detail later. But for now, let's start with the rumors surrounding Diddy and Clive Davis. To be clear, what comes next involves allegations, rumors, and opinions that have circulated publicly for years. None of these claims have been proven in court, and Clive Davis denied wrongdoing where applicable and was never criminally charged over these allegations. One of the loudest voices connecting these names has been Jaguar Wright. For years, she has claimed that Diddy learned many of his business tactics from former Uptown Records executive Andre Harrell, who she alleges was heavily influenced by Clive Davis. According to Jaguar's version of events, she believes patterns of power, influence, and manipulation were passed down from one generation of executives to the next. She has repeatedly argued that the culture surrounding the industry was bigger than any one individual. She also points to an interesting moment in music history. In 1993, Andre Harrell fired Diddy from Uptown Records. Most people assumed that would be the end of his career. Instead, only weeks later, Diddy launched Bad Boy Records, and the label exploded into one of the biggest forces in hip-hop. That rapid rise has fueled years of speculation about who helped make it possible.
You're a major influence on the career of P. Diddy. Have you spoken to him since the federal raid?
Yes.
Have you spoken to Sean Combs?
He's got nothing to say.
Any comment, Mr. Davis? Any comments about Diddy? He credits you as one of his mentors.
And in her new interview with Real Life Street Stars, they actually brought up this weird encounter with Clive Davis to ask Jaguar Wright how she felt about it. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of Jaguar Wright explaining why Clive Davis would act like he couldn't understand questions about Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
You mentioned Clive Davis. They just showed him recently walking into somewhere, and they asked him about Diddy, and he said, "Who?" Is that old age, or does he not? They're not in the same world, or they're in the same world, but they're not cohorts.
He's definitely been his ass.
Oh, okay.
I would call that the same world.
You hear what she just said? She basically said that Clive Davis and P. Diddy have been together in a sexual fashion. That's what was just said right there.
Okay. It's pretty intertwined.
And for him to say Diddy who is his way of saying, I'm not talking about Sean anymore. Maybe he's been playing cozy with the other Sean. Maybe he just got him another Sean.
Okay.
Jay-Z's awful quiet.
Jaguar Wright has repeated a long-running rumor claiming that Clive Davis played a major role in helping Bad Boy Records get off the ground. She has also repeated allegations about how that support was allegedly obtained. Those claims have never been substantiated with evidence, and they remain rumors. What is publicly known is that Clive Davis became one of the most influential executives in modern music.
Now, they say a lot of things about Diddy, right? Like, he would do these terrible things to young artists, and not even to young artists, to adult artists. Anyone that was looking to work with him, he would do these terrible things because he was trying to show control. And he was trying to show that he was dominant over these people. Now, it makes me wonder, Did he feel the need? Well, we have to ask, like, why did he want this control? Why did he need to feel that power? The man was already rich and successful. Why the need to dominate other people, men and women? And I wonder if it's because it had happened to him. He was dominated. He was broken down to be the little insignificant person of Clive Davis, having to do whatever Clive wanted him to do. You could kind of take that in your own mind and figure out what that was. So because he was broken down to be a shell of a man himself, he needed to build himself back up by doing the same thing to others.
Through decades in the business, he worked with countless successful artists and helped shape the careers of many household names. In 2013, Clive Davis published his memoir, The Soundtrack of My Life, where he publicly revealed that he is bisexual. This led many to wonder if he had ever had inappropriate relationships with his own artists, or more specifically, young rappers.
If anyone's gonna know about Diddy's secrets, it's going to be this guy who was his bodyguard in the 90s, and he actually exposes a lot about Diddy.
A lot of people believed that, Usher was groomed by Diddy.
He wasn't only groomed by Diddy, he was groomed by L.A. Reid, the rest of them too, man. Because they knew what happened. Then they came out and brought him back, and all of a sudden, he's getting all the great tracks. He's getting all the songs. They making him into this star, even though he may have been a...
He knew that Diddy was involved with other men, and he also witnessed the weird things going on in his house with young boys such as Usher. He claims that everything Diddy was doing to young boys actually happened to him by his mentor.
Which is what we were literally just saying a moment ago. He was just repeating the history of what happened to him onto his new mentees, future stars.
Named Clive Davis.
There it
this
is.
man introduced Diddy to the music industry, and he actually came out as bisexual recently. And it's been said, allegedly, that he forced Diddy to do certain things with him in order for Diddy to start his career. He basically gave Diddy the opportunity to start Bad Boy Records, and if it wasn't for him, then Diddy would be no one.
Over the years, numerous stories have circulated online connecting Clive Davis to the mysterious deaths of the artists that worked for him. As a result, many people believe that the only reason Clive never faced an investigation into Phyllis's death is because he had friends in high places. Another claim that regularly appears in these conversations is that a private meeting took place in Beverly Hills at Clive Davis's house during the mid-1990s, involving music executives, government officials, and other influential figures. According to rumors, artists were allegedly encouraged to create music that promoted destructive messages because it would benefit larger systems.
That 1995 meeting in Beverly Hills in the home of Clive Davis, who was responsible for the murder of Whitney Houston, I said it. His days are numbered. And there were rappers there from all over the country. They were invited to the home of Clive Davis, along with members of the CIA, FBI, which they didn't understand why the government was there, including many directors and CEOs of the private prisons throughout the United States was at that meeting in the mansion of Clive Davis. And they were telling these rappers, you need to create songs talking about please, calling black women bees and hoes. You need to get more nasty so we can fill our prisons that we're building.
No.
You know what's crazy during that time? I can recall when that gangster music came into play.
That's it.
And how they, I don't know if the guys rapping it really knew, but they created the atmosphere.
Yes.
But it went from, I remember guys wanting to wear like the African chains around their neck
Yes.
and dancing and the haircuts, flat tops, Kid and Play,
Flat top, yeah.
Kwame, to the really thugged out and just the gang stuff. And I can recall going into like liquor stores or different places and all they had was blue and red rags.
Right.
It was just like that stuff was on program.
Do you think that Clive Davis had that much power where he could bring together artists, CIA, law enforcement to have artists make content that would influence listeners to be more aggressive to fill up prisons, basically to make money for the government? Was Clive Davis involved in that? And did that even happen? Because if so, that's absolutely insane. And it's another level of corruption inside of the industry.
That brings us to another phrase that has appeared repeatedly in online discussions, the so-called gay mafia. Supporters of the theory use it to describe an alleged network of powerful people working behind the scenes in music, fashion, film, and even politics, who supposedly protect one another and influence careers. Critics, however, argue that the term is offensive, misleading, and promotes harmful stereotypes. There is no verified evidence that such an organized group exists. Even with that debate, the phrase refuses to disappear. That's because a surprising number of celebrities have publicly claimed they've either seen it or believe some version of it exists.
Now, you had talked about how you don't do gay jokes because there's a gay mafia.
Yeah. Yeah, you see what he did to Tracy Morgan. And then there's a gay mafia. Gay people shut down shit, man. You know, you don't want no dude, no 6 foot, 300-pound guy with some Daisy Dukes on dancing on your line. You know, that'll stop anything. That'll close down a business, Jack.
You and I did an interview in 2011. And this ended up being what you told me was like your biggest interview ever.
The hip hop community is most likely owned by gay. To be honest with
But
you,
you think they'll be?
they're owned by gay. I happen to think there's a gay mafia in hip hop.
Right.
Not rappers. You know, the editorial presidents of magazines. Sure. The PDs at radio stations. The people who give you award at award shows. This is the fucking gay mafia, my man.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They are in power. So why wouldn't a guy come out and say, yo, I'm gay, and get that type of love? I mean, Lady Gaga, I don't know if she's gay, but she running with that gay shit for real. And she is winning.
So,
rap music, nah, it ain't no different. Everybody got somebody gay in their house, in their family. I'm not saying in their same house, but in their family, somebody got somebody gay.
So what I think is really being said here is not specifically people being gay, although of course there are people that are gay inside of the industry, which isn't here nor there. Someone being gay doesn't make them abusive, taking advantage of people and only giving opportunities to other people that will be gay with them. This is about gay things happening. Diddy, Clive Davis, doing things to other boys and men that they don't want done just so they can advance inside of the industry. That's what I believe they're talking about the gay mafia. Having things happen that should not be happening so that you can advance your career as an artist. But DMX told us all about this before he passed. And again, another person that told us what was going on in the industry that we didn't listen to. We just thought he was an angry rapper. If you want to see other people who had same experiences that were telling us for years, check out this video and I'll see you over there.